Hey guys, Vanessa here, alcoholic. My sobriety date's October 8th, 2017, and today I'm going to be reading again from Keep It Simple. And today is January 14th, and I may have uploaded 2 videos today because I forgot to post the one that I recorded yesterday. So anyway, what happens is I'm going to read through this, I'm going to reflect on it, I'm going to read through it again, and I encourage you to go ahead and leave any comments about your experience with the reading, what resonates for you, if you agree, disagree, any of your experiences. I love hearing everybody else kind of share their story or say where they agree, disagree. It just helps me to also feel in community with you guys as well. And hopefully you guys get to read the other comments too. All right, so January 14th. If you play with a thing long enough, you will surely break it. Anonymous. Some things shouldn't be played with. Our recovery program is one of these things. When we play with our program, we're taking a risk. We play with the program by missing meetings or by not calling our sponsors or by skipping the steps we think are too hard. When we do these things, we risk our lives. Prayer for the day. God, help me know that I must work this program with care and respect. Action for the day. Today, I'll make 2 lists. On one list, I'll write ways I work on my program. On the other list, I'll write ways I play with my program. I'll focus on putting my energy into working the program. Amen. So I'm feeling really called out at the moment. My program right now is kind of shit, if I'm being totally honest. And there are a couple of ways that I feel about this. So first things first, I feel just like wretchedly like. So here's the thing. I haven't been to a meeting I think I went to one maybe like in October because my friend was speaking and it was a Zoom meeting, but I really need to get my butt in a chair in a meeting in person. Not that in-person meetings are any better than Zoom meetings or anything like that. I just haven't been around my community in a minute, even though I still talk to them, everywhere else. It doesn't mean that there's something like energetically that happens when we're in community with other people. And I know this, and I know that I love going, it's like working out. It's like even already like going to the gym, I'm like, it's just like the interruption to the whatever it is that I'm doing. It's the getting the moving to do it, right? Like the energy. I don't know what I'm saying. Am I saying words? So it's like getting to that point where I'm just like, okay, now I'm in the meeting. I always enjoy being in a meeting, and then leaving, I feel even better. Same thing with the gym, I love actually going to the gym and being at the gym is always fun. And I feel so much better getting out and leaving, knowing that I have accomplished that. And these are all things that are good for us. And so I haven't been to a meeting, and there is no rhyme or reason to it. I do feel like I went through this really weird stage. When I got sober, I was extremely social and very out there. I was constantly out somewhere with people. And then I got to move out, and then the pandemic on my own. And that's when the pandemic happened. And I was still actually socializing a lot via Zoom. And then I would have kind of like safe outdoor not gatherings. I would like meet my friends and we would walk at the beach, which was heavily patrolled at the time. Now that I think about it, I can't believe we lived through that. But we made time to see each other like once a month. It was still very limited, and I was extremely limited in how often I could see people in person. And then since then, and then I went through a year and a half of just losing people where I just didn't really have the energy to go out and hang out with people socially, even though I kind of like pushed myself to because I knew I needed to. And then I would just kind of gotten, I was saying trapped. That's not, I enjoyed going to comedy shows. And then that was kind of my safe haven that I replaced, which is not a good substitute, by the way, for meetings, but it was a good place to build community and to feel seen and to feel a part of, right? Which is ultimately what I feel like addicts and alcoholics need. And then that relationship got kind of weird, and kind of like delving back into that recently. And so, I do feel like we tend to, anytime I'm also like faltering on the truth, where I'm kind of just telling white lies, or I'm not being 100% honest about something, that's another way of playing with my sobriety. And you guys, I can't, how awkward it is to like say something that I know is untrue and then have it linger, because I know that my recovery hinges on honesty. And so if I don't have that's honesty going on in my life, if I've lied about something, I have to go back and make it right. I don't know how far I can get away with doing something before it catches up to me and I end up drinking and using again. And that would be the short and sweet way to it. Right? Let's say the destruction. That I know that ultimately dishonesty will lead me to drinking and using and possibly death. Or the worst thing that could happen too, I mean, that's pretty bad, I guess. But the worst thing that can happen is if I'm just dishonest in all of these ways, I will just slowly, and I never pick up a drink or drug, I will just slowly, for who knows how long, begin to constantly or begin to create this chaos around me. And I will start damaging relationships and I will start hurting people and I will be more agonized by all of that because I will be fighting so hard not to pick up a drink or drug that I'll start compulsively spending or overeating or undereating or over exercising or the gossip, because I will start to act out in all these other ways that signify a malady within my spiritual life because I can't be honest about something, you know. And I know it can sound like, oh, really, just a one little white light. Yeah, actually, because for me, I don't have the spiritual experience of most normal, healthy people, I guess. For whatever reason, I just have found that if I'm not living in complete accordance to an alignment with God's will, which is, truth and love, that I will begin to identify with things of this world that do not suit me and actually harm me, and in the process harm others around me who I love and care about. So yeah, and it's all kind of just like I get Tyler, one of my sponsors, or not one of my sponsors, one of my mentors in the program. She would say this thing that I thought was so outrageous at the time, and then it really is true. Where she's like, I can't even, if I'm working in an office, I can't even steal a paperclip because next time it'll be Scotch tape, and then next time it'll be a stapler, and then next time it'll be a laptop, and then next time it'll be I'm not working when I'm clocked in, and then next time it'll be I'm not showing up, but I'm saying I am, and I'm, racking up the expense reports. And now I'm spending money on the booze that I need to compensate for feeling bad about the stealing, or, and to now I'm going to start lying to people about all these things because I feel bad about myself that this, it's like once we begin that first initial misalignments, then everything else gets misaligned. Like I have this beautiful necklace that my dad gave me for Christmas one year, and it's a beautiful gold herringbone necklace, and it has like a little kink in it. And so I was Googling how to fix it. And as I was reading it, it was like, these are like impossible links. Basically, if like something happens to it, these links are so delicate and like so small and so like succinctly like linked together that if one gets damaged, if you remove it, you will still have a kink in it anyway, because you have to now find another way to like lay the other link appropriately so it looks like nothing was there. So it takes like it's really difficult to repair, because then everything else just gets kind of out of whack and it's just there. And that's how I feel about lying or any kind of dishonesty or delusions that prevent me or that can block me from God. Is like once I am misaligned, however minute or how little that little kink is, that little tiny white lie, it can slowly and surely begin to erode at the integrity of all the other words and actions that I take. And I don't know. I can't say that I do know that I know where it will lead me. I know where it has led me in the past, but as I've evolved and as the stakes get higher, or as I have different experiences and different relationships, the consequences of those white lies and that misalignment will be different, bigger, more catastrophic, more subtle, more detrimental in some way. I just know that this disease is a progressive one, and it is one where maybe the consequences that I had when I was 19, it's not going to be the same thing. These consequences are going to be deeper. And because I know, I have a head full of AA, and if I have a belly full of lies, delusions, or booze, it's going to be a very difficult way to exist in this world. So I'm going to go ahead and read this again. I would love to know what your experiences are. Are you taking, oh, and I got dropped by my sponsor. I will have you know. I got dropped by my sponsor because I guess that is also a way that I was playing. I just wasn't prepared. I was dog sitting and I forgot my books. And I was like, oh, I don't think I'm going to have time to go home, get my books, and then get set up to meet. And she was like, this is too many times. And, I had already asked her to reschedule because we were meeting during the week for work, during my work day kind of. And it started to kind of interfere with, I started having a lot of things popping up on that day that we were meeting. So I was like, okay, we rescheduled to weekends. And then she did. And then I ended up still not being able to make it. And she was like, all right, I just think this isn't going to work out. So I understand. I've done that with sponsees as well. But that was one way that I was like, okay, why wasn't I prepared? Why didn't I take my book? Why didn't, things like that need to be important. And at the same time, the program is very efficient at giving us a spiritual experience, a spiritual connection. These are the steps that we need to live our lives by. And the flip side of this is that I don't worship the steps. Steps have shown me a way to live my life, and I see the value in them. And when I get off track, I love going back to the steps and knowing exactly what it is I need to do to get back into alignment and continue to do God's will. And I have also, as the book tells us to, that we need to, in order to stay sober, continue to grow spiritually. So I also have other practices and that mirror the 12 steps. The 12 steps are not anything new. You could find that type of wisdom in old, like, wisdom cultures and old religions and other religions. This thing of like, the only thing that is different about it is acknowledging that we are, biologically, physically different from other people, and not being able to process alcohol because we have this mind, body, spirit allergy to drinking. And then they add this wisdom of like, well, you need to not hold on to resentments, you need to make amends, and you need to continue to seek God, you need to stay in prayer and meditation. Like, these are all the things that are actually the program, and also help other people and be of service to others. And so I'm still continuing to do those things, but part of that is also carrying the message to others, right? And that needs to be, I'm happy I get to do this. This is great. But also I need to do that. And I am working with somebody now. I was taking a break from sponsoring so that I could get sponsored, but I think I'm going to need to go into a meeting and see if I can get some more sponsors and maybe find another sponsor too. So that is what I have. I'm going to go back through and read this, and you let me know what your experience is. All right. If you play January 14th, if you play with a thing long enough, you will surely break it. Some things shouldn't be played with. Our recovery program is one of these things. When we play with our program, we're risking it. We play with the program by missing meetings, by not calling our sponsors, or by skipping the steps we think are too hard. When we do these things, we risk our lives. Prayer for the day. Higher power, help me know that I must work this program with care and respect. Action for the day. Today I'll make 2 lists. On one list, I'll write ways I work on my program. On the other list, I'll write ways I play with my program. I'll focus on putting my energy into working the program. All right. Thank you guys so much. I hope you have a wonderful day. I love you, and goodbye.